All right, let's get rolling on a Friday. Glasses in session, talking a little Texas Longhorns. And by now, everybody knows the week one showdown against Ohio State. Number one versus number two, one of the biggest season opening games we have ever had. It's going to be awesome. You look at the rest of Texas's schedule, though, and definitely harder this year than it was last season. So last year, they have the road game at Michigan against a Michigan team that obviously underperformed, didn't have a quarterback the entire year. This year, they got to go on the road to Columbus and take on the Buckeyes, who on paper aren't as good as they were last season, but certainly talented enough to go back-to-back. In my opinion, they have the two best players in the sport in Caleb Downs and in Jeremiah Smith. So they're going to be a handful, obviously. Then Texas has the road trip to Florida. We know the Swamp is never an easy place to play, especially if Florida is good going in to that Week 6 matchup. Road trip at Georgia. They got to go to Athens to take on the Bulldogs. And then, of course, you got Red River against Oklahoma, who much of us think are going to be improved this season. Got to end the year against A&M as well. So there's about 4 or 5 games on this schedule this year that Texas has that you look at and you're like, I could definitely see them losing this game. Talked about it earlier in the year. I do like Texas a lot in week one. I think that's a great matchup for them. You look at Sark's track record when he has been in Austin. His teams have performed very well early on in the season. That Michigan game last year, they go into Ann Arbor, take care of business. When they played Bama in the home and home, the game in Tuscaloosa, they beat them. The game in Austin, they were 3 touchdown underdogs, only lost that game by a point. So Sark has had his teams ready to go in these early season matchups. I think he'll have them ready to go again. And then you think about the fact all that Ohio State lost. They lost their 2 coordinators, Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles. I think that's a really good spot for Texas going into Columbus. So I do like them in that week one game. I tell you guys what, though, that Florida game, not going to be easy. The Oklahoma game, I definitely think they could trip up. Obviously, the road game against Georgia as well. But for a team that is the favorite to win the national championship, win the SEC, I mean, you're getting them to miss the college football playoff at plus 240. And again, they're underdogs in 2 games this season. They're underdogs to Ohio State and they're underdogs to Georgia. If they lose both of those games, lose another game on top of it, you would think at 9-3, because they are the preseason number one, because they have Arch Manning as their quarterback, and let's be honest, that absolutely does matter because they're Texas. They still probably get in at 9-3. We have to see how the season unfolds, but I think at plus 240, man, it's worth it to take Texas. There's no way I'm buying Texas at any of these prices to win the SEC, win the national championship. I'm not betting Arch to win the Heisman Trophy because let's be honest, the reason that the prices are what they are with Texas is because Arch Manning is their quarterback. If his last name was Smith, we would not be talking about Texas the way that we are. They would not be priced the way that they are. Extremely talented football team, no question about it. I do think their defense is going to be a little bit worse, though, this season. And offensively, the offensive line's a big question mark. They only return 1 starter off that O-line. They're starting 2 sophomores up front. The running back room is going to be fantastic. The wide receiver room is going to be awesome. You have my favorite play caller in college football and Sark as well. So a lot to like on both sides of the football. They're going to have studs all over the field, but I think you could argue that last year's team was maybe more talented than this year's team, but because Arch Manning is the starting quarterback, that's why you're getting the prices with Texas that you are. And as we know in college football too, crazy stat that the number one preseason team usually does not win the national championship. And especially now with the era that we're in with college football, 12-team playoff, it's only going to make it that much harder. Texas has to go through the gauntlet that is the SEC. It's going to be tough for them to win the whole thing. So they're obviously capable of doing it, but at these prices, I think Arch is like the 4th or 5th best quarterback in the SEC. I'm going to be real with you guys. I think he's good, but these people like Paul Feinbaum that are coming out and saying that he's like Tim Tebow, the second coming, like, let's stop, please. He's not even the best quarterback in the SEC. He's not better than Lenore Sellers. He's not better than DJ Lagway. He's not better than Garrett Nussmeier. I'd take all those guys over Arch. He's a nice player, but because his last name is Manning and he's getting so much hype, I just don't see how you can bet Texas in these markets. Now, the counter argument for betting Texas is obviously it's number one versus number two in week one. And if Texas wins that game, they are going to be the clear favorites to win the national championship. So if you do like Texas, that is the argument to make, is that obviously the price that you're getting now at plus 500 is probably going to go in half if they beat Ohio State for them to win the national title. Even though I do think they're going to beat Ohio State, I don't think they're going to win the national championship, and I would not bet them at that price. But man, is it going to be fun to watch Arch handle all these expectations and all this hype around him and this Texas team for the upcoming season.